So I've got some more polynomial equations for us to look at here. And I've picked one for this lecture that kind of illustrates some more interesting things that can go on with these kinds of equations. So this first one here is already set equal to 0. Excellent. So we're going to jump right in and do the factoring part. So this factors to n minus 3 times n minus 3. Still equals 0. I know we're not really ever going to do anything with that equals 0 side, but don't forget to keep it in there as part of the process, right? Otherwise, it's easy to forget that you're solving an equation. You start thinking you're just simplifying an expression, and then you go completely off track. So now we'll set those factors equal to 0. N minus 3 equals 0 twice. So we get n equals 3 once. Right? We're getting the same number twice, right? Because the factors are the same. When that happens, I'm not going to say n equals 3 comma 3 and try to make out like there's two distinct numbers, right? I'm just going to give the one unique value, right? And that'll be the equation's sole solution. So this one, x squared plus 1 equals 0. This doesn't factor. It's the sum of two squares, and sum of two squares doesn't factor to anything using real numbers. So at this point, just based on what we know so far about solving equations, I'm going to have to say that this equation doesn't have any solutions. Now, it does, okay? And when we get a little further and we start talking about complex numbers, you'll see how we actually can come up with a solution to this. But right now, we're limited to just real numbers, so the answer to this is going to be that this equation doesn't have any solutions. Okay, last one here. How can we factor this? Well, I'm seeing the difference of two squares. So I'll factor this to n squared minus 4 times n squared plus 4. And now I have the difference of two squares on the left part and the sum of two squares on the right part. We saw the sum of two squares on the last slide, right? That part doesn't factor. I'm going to keep it here as part of the process, but I can't factor any further. N squared minus 4 becomes n minus 2 times n plus 2. And for the same reason we talked about on the last slide, only the first two factors are going to give me solutions here. So I'm going to set those two equal to 0, and that gives me two answers, plus or minus 2.